Just a quick recap of the last couple of weeks' channelings that we've been doing at 5 a.m., middle of the night, and how they started. So, how did it start? It was on the summer solstice, wasn't it?
Yeah, we decided to have a call on the summer solstice, didn't we? And out of that call, where channeling came through, and they gave us the mission, should we choose to accept it, of getting up at
Oh,
5 o'clock
yeah,
every morning and channeling. So I didn't even want to say it to you when I felt the words come in.
yeah,
I was like, oh no, because if I say it out loud, then I'm kind of committing myself, if nothing else. Anyway, yeah, so
yeah.
it just kind of happened.
Yeah, that was it. Because we are going to thrash out use that summer solstice energy to thrash out, put a framework behind the what we're going to be doing in terms of the podcast and YouTube and all that sort of stuff. And then little beknownst to us, I'm going to channel, and they came through with that message, and I think it was Ashtar, wasn't it? It came through of the Galactic Federation,
Yes.
yeah, who explained how we perceive him as a stream, or them, what he represents. I'm assuming it's masculine, and he represents this federation. It's a stream of consciousness, but also as manifest like a craft with beings on it. Is that right?
Yeah, it feels like that. So I think of all information and all the channeling stuff comes from consciousness. And it can come from just awareness itself or consciousness itself or an individuation. So it could be a spirit guide, or it could be an ancestor, or it could be an angelic presence, or it could be somebody like Ashtar, who's an individuation of consciousness with his, like we are individuations of consciousness with our own thoughts and personalities. So yeah, he was explaining that yeah, he's coming in through the consciousness, but he is in and of himself an individual who's out there on a craft. Yeah,
Right, right. And he's working for the light. They're all of the light.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And they explained to us our that we should be channeling you should be channeling, us holding this space in some sort of forum online to convey their message.
yeah. Their message
I,
and other messages from other individuations of consciousness, and we can name them or not. It all comes from a higher consciousness, a higher perspective that's necessary for now.
yes, and there was an urgency to this because there are certain things changing on the planet at this time, and it's about this huge leap in humanity's evolution, the evolution of consciousness, and they are on a not a precipice, but a pivot point, a tipping point, and that they were waiting for so many things to align for this great evolution in consciousness to occur.
Yes, it's like they're all sitting out there with their popcorn, waiting to see what is going to happen on the Earth plane. That this
Yeah,
whole like intergalactic like focus, because what happens here dictates what happens in the universe galactically, whatever language you want to use. So everyone's watching with eager anticipation, and we're here. And those of us who were born here, all of everyone on the planet, we've chosen to be here at this time. So we've forgotten that we've chosen to be here now as part of this massive change, and it's exciting. And everyone's watching the news and getting caught in the 3D because we've all forgotten. And this is about waking up to
sure.
that excitement.
Yeah, 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 right. Yeah. And so it's probably important we say at this level that the channelings over the next couple of weeks, or what we talk about, we will just convey a message, not necessarily name which stream of consciousness it's come from.
Yeah, and they just were clear a moment ago when we just channeled before we started that they're not interested in naming who they are, and we can. Sometimes maybe they will, but it's not about that. They said, listen to what's being said. Let's not get caught up in the personalities of who's coming through these individuations. What's more important is the frequency and the energy and the messaging that's coming through. Let's focus on the words. Let's focus on the energy and focus on the messaging. And yeah, that's their key imperative.
Yeah, yeah. So the next day, which was the first day, the first 5 a.m. start, which was on the Monday, the what it was about the Lemuria, ancient Lemuria, And so from my limited knowledge, it's an ancient civilization that existed either pre-Atlantis or there was some sort of crossover. And it was a crystalline, highly evolved civilization that were not just in a 3D plane, but because they were so highly evolved, they were almost sort of trans-dimensional.
Yeah, and they came through with some really interesting insights into the use of crystals and crystalline technology and crystal frequencies, and how they use that in all of their life, all aspects of their life. In particular, used it to charge the water they drank, so that they were drinking high frequency water, which helped raise the frequency of their body, which helped them with the balance of the body and the spirit, which I thought was really interesting.
Yes, they said the water literally sang, and they drank the water.
Amazing.
And yeah, and they used quartz crystals or rose quartz crystals to harmonize and charge the water that they were drinking.
And you could have water that you drink, but also water that you bathe in. So you could have water from the inside out and from the outside in. And I think it gives us an excuse to go to Glastonbury. You know, cue a trip to Glastonbury to go get some water from Glastonbury
Yeah.
and some crystals.
Yes, yes, and yeah, you don't need an excuse, do you, to get in the shops at Glastonbury. That it was an interesting thing that I remember was that as the water within our body becomes more coherent, it helps raise the cellular frequency throughout our physical form, and that as that cellular vibration raises, the spirit is you're able to embody the spirit more.
Yeah, the frequency helps to harmonize. Yeah, so the higher vibration the body, the easier it is for us to drop in. Called a rainbow light body, or they call it the evolution of like entwining your soul with your body. It's the holy grail, right? It's the what we're
Yeah,
here to do is to evolve in spiritually, which means not going onto a mountaintop and disappearing off into meditation, but making the body a vehicle for our soul's expression, making the body more of a comfortable vehicle so that we can become even more spiritually present.
yeah, yeah. That was really cool, and I'd heard about Lemuria. Dolores Cannon talks about Lemuria, and I'm sure a number of other metaphysical or spiritual uh, writers and channelers also talk about it. But that's just one quite popular person that I have read about
Mm-hmm.
the ancient civilization of Lemuria.
What was interesting as well with that channeling, it came through in reference to previous channeling, where they had talked about how they were a very highly evolved society, and something happened. There was a battle, and there was a battle of light and dark, and due to the laws of the universe, they had to surrender to the dark, which meant that they had to hand over their civilization and leave. So they talk about going underground or going interdimensional for a period of time, because that was the rules of how these things work, which we don't understand yet. But the point being that it was for a finite amount of time, and that time is coming to a close, and they're coming back, and that feels really exciting.
Yes, yes. There's a that you've channeled in a few different collectives that are of that sort of similar high vibrational frequency that say they're coming back, haven't you?
Yeah, the Tuatha De Danann and
Mm,
the Elohim. There's
mm,
this kind of repeated frequency match of we had to step back and now we're coming forward and we're waiting
mm.
at the gates. That's what they keep showing us, waiting at the gates to come back in.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah.
So the next day, which was I think it was well, Tuesday, which was how would you identify? I might have misread this earlier, but how would you identify this? Because we had the mothers, didn't we? But
Mm-hmm.
first, we had a collective that were talking about
Oh, this the synod,
this sort of
the synod.
synod and a uh, bandwidth of light circling the earth, and this was like a sort of a level of consciousness that was would embrace people, and everybody. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, it's really interesting because this is where the nitty gritty of the minutiae of who said what, it's kind of dilutes as we try to fathom. Our minds want to grasp that, but as we do that, we kind of lose the gravitas of the message. And they were just coming through. They refer to themselves as the synod, that they are multi-galactic, that they oversee their own galaxies, and they've all come together to see what's happening on the Earth plane because it's going to affect everyone. So they're all of the highest frequency, and they're all looking for the highest possible outcome and how to develop that. And I think throughout the week, the channeling developed this theme that they're raising the frequency. To do it, it's not about entering into a battle of light and dark. It's about raising the frequency of the planet, raising the individual frequency, so that as we raise our frequency, become a higher frequency, the dark automatically is repelled by that, rather than getting into an actual battle as such. That was my remembering, but it's
Yeah, they would just fall away. Those dark energies would just be a matter of them just falling away, and then they're not able to access that higher state, that higher light frequency or level of consciousness.
And in falling away, let's be clear, it's not that. In essence, that sounds quite easy, but there will be
Yeah,
there will be a purging.
yeah. They
So
refer
people,
to it as the dark night of the soul.
yeah,
Which sounds pretty dark.
but it's a
And I
necessary.
jest, but I say that like, laughing. It is it could be quite traumatic for people.
Because they're letting go of things like thought patterns, beliefs, perhaps energies, thought forms that have been lying within their systems. And when the light gets brighter, it shines on that which isn't light. And at first, you can think, "Oh wow, what's that? What's going on?" And you can become suddenly aware of things that have been hidden, that are a darker frequency. But that's part of the process of purging. You've got to go through
Mm,
it to come out the other side. So don't
mm,
don't people aren't going to be stuck in this purging,
mm.
but it is a real part of it. And on the other
Yeah,
side is a high frequency and a clarity and a lightness that is worth the journey.
that is part of the ascension. To be able to reach that level of light, you have to purge that level of dark,
Mm.
whatever that may be.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And okay, so I think that was pretty much. Um, oh, it was again. It was the message of crystalline activation, and um, balancing the lower chakras with the higher chakras. Was that it, or
Mm-hmm.
the importance of grounding, stabilizing, and um, uh, uh, embodying those chakras of those lower chakras? Right? Is that right?
Yeah, it's about balancing like the really high frequency in the upper chakras. It's easier to tune into those sometimes and go up and just step out of anything that's lower. But the idea is to bring that high frequency down into the lower chakras, which can be a little bit more uncomfortable because when you bring that light in, it brings to light that which isn't light and can activate a purge or a clearing. So it's just about being gentle and gently kind of developing over a period of time this integration.
Mm. Hmm. Yeah, that was nice, and they gave us a meditation to help us with that, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
And so shall we move on to the next
Yeah.
day? We'll just go on the core message.
Yeah.
Really, I think that's more important, which was a message about Egypt, the importance of Egypt, and how it was once such a beautiful realm, and most of it history remains unhidden, but it's now time for um, this this knowledge and information to come out.
I'm really excited about all things Egypt. I just find it. I've always been fascinated, and I just think well, it's literally the tip of the iceberg. Like imagine the pyramids. We understand there's massive structures underneath it. LiDAR has shown that in the last few months. So it literally is the tip of the iceberg of what's really there, and it's really exciting. What's gonna come out? I think.
Did they say that there was stuff buried under sand, or did you see that? Or
We come to you through the sands of time, is what they said.
right,
Yes, and
yeah,
they said that a lot
that,
of a lot of their civilization, the beautiful landscapes, is all under the sand. Yes, there's a lot hidden under the sand. Yes, they did.
yeah. So that's all to be revealed, and the disclosure is one aspect, or it's a gateway into disclosure, as it's been talked about now as the discovery of extraterrestrial life, and the fact that we're not alone is merely just again, that's the tip of the iceberg. It's a doorway into this knowledge, this awakening, this crystalline activation.
Yeah, it's just one of the facets. Disclosure, we think it's going to be, ETs and craft. That's just one of the facets. Actually, what disclosure is an awakening of truth, an awakening of an embodied truth that we've lost touch with, and that feels
Mm,
palpable and exciting.
mm, yes. It was. That was. They're very exciting, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah, it's so interesting.
These challenges. And the following day was the Sirius blueprint and crystalline DNA activation, um, which was this message around that Sirius holds this the original DNA blueprint for original humans.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the original blueprint of the planet, and the architecture of how they spliced the DNA with the inhabitants at the time, and what how it was all done, and the original
Mm,
blueprint of the mapping of that project.
mm, yes. And it was that DNA strands are now reactivating these strands of light that remain latent within the human genome, and it's about those activating, bringing this crystalline consciousness online throughout the whole of humanity.
Yeah, so they're fine tuning which strands of DNA are going to be the ones that will help wake everybody up. So it's not about people having to think about things and understanding. It's going to happen physiologically within their system. So the frequency will
Mm,
raise and they'll just know things and they'll feel the truth. And I think it's coming to a point of it's all about truth. And
mm,
if everyone can recognize truth and untruth, then you can't lie to each other. Like imagine a future where you just can't lie to anyone because
mm.
truth is so essential for the evolution of things being clearer, brighter, more of a high frequency. Truth is key.
Yeah. And we also received a really nice meditation um, that from them about that again, which was clearing our chakras, a lot of balancing, a lot of sort of crystalline energy entering
Mm-hmm.
through the crown chakra.
Yeah, yeah, and I
Mm,
think moving forward, we've kind of been road mapping in our own way the content that we'll be able to share live with people. So this is just us kind of understanding as they channel through what's for us to kind of grasp what their messaging is. So we're sharing
mm,
this now. This is what we've been exploring over the last couple of weeks, and as we move forward into the lives, this is what people can expect to be. This kind of thing is what people can expect to be witnessing and
mm.
receiving.
And you can really feel it, the meditation as they talk you through it, or you talk. It comes for you as being as the vessel. It really was. Almost like a visceral feeling of the like the cleansing, the opening, the balancing. Like it was, and you felt uh, a lot lighter after. You can feel the energy as they're working.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Yeah, it's fun to see it received.
Blows my mind still. Blows my mind how that happens, how they do that. But yeah, for another day. And then we had the following day we had Stargates of Awakening, and this was a transmission around return of a bit more into return of ancient knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
um, and again, this message about balancing the masculine and the feminine, embodying that balance, which leads to greater harmony and being able to anchor in these higher levels of consciousness. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, I'm anchoring balancing the male female in all of us as individuals. So we all have a male and female aspects, and it's balancing that male female within us, and then as we, microcosm macrocosm, as we balance within each and every one of us, then it helps the collective. It's but the balance of the male and female is key because it's so out of whack.
And that there are stargates opening on the planet that they've purposely hidden so they weren't misused, these portals, and that they're going to be arriving in greater numbers, all as of the light, beings of light, or however they manifest. But it's around waking up, and people coming round to this, that we've been in a prison, should I say?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he talked about the fact that people don't realize, if prisoners don't realize they're in prison, then they don't want for something else. But when people begin to realize just how imprisoned we are with matrix of thoughts and control, then that desire to be awake is activated. Because if people don't realize, then they don't realize what they're missing, like with anything. So
Yeah, well,
and the sense that these gateways are there and they're waiting on the other side of the gate, like they said at the beginning, they're waiting to come through, and they're waiting to bring with them that higher frequency that will help wake people up, and it will support people in their waking up. And what was the other thing? They're waiting at the gate, and oh yeah, and they're not just coming from the sky. We're not going to be just seeing them in the sky like we do with our Skywatch, but they'll just be materializing all around us. They're not coming just from the sky. They're coming multidimensionally, transdimensionally in the field around us. It was an interesting perspective.
yeah. Realised I don't put my microphone on. So the following day was harmonic mind, regulating consciousness for the new Earth.
Yes.
You might have to remind me a bit about this
Yeah.
transmission.
Yeah, this was about the importance of having a harmonious mind, and emotions can come in like a tornado and can disrupt everything. So it's about being able to have sovereignty over your thoughts, sovereignty over your emotions, sovereignty over how you speak, and what you do, and how you act, so that that frequency is raising in your thought, word, and deed, so that you are a vibrational match for your spirit that's coming down into your body to meet you. So it's really important about, it's like the thoughts are the gateway. You can take yourself one way or the other depending on how you're thinking. You can expand or contract. You can live life full of expectation or sorrow. It's all based on your thoughts. And so the key governant as to how you move forward is how you think, and claiming that right to have the sovereignty over your thoughts and emotions, and to keep yourself in higher frequency.
Yes, and you govern the inner. Then the inner experience changes, that leads to the outer experience changes, and it sort of opens up a whole new reality. If you're constantly in higher states of mind and peaceful intent, and these higher frequencies, compassion, kindness, empathy, joy, and that higher frequency, and in its balance, then your outer world will be changed, like
As above, so below. The kind of the relationship between, we co-create our experience, and we just don't realize all these things that we don't realize about our existence, like how we think will completely transform how we experience. What we focus on grows, right? These are expressions that we're familiar with, but we don't really necessarily understand. So if we reframe everything in a positive way, then we're going to have a very different experience than the pessimist, than the cup half full, cup half empty. Our life will be very different. You can see that with friends who think negatively all the time, or friends who are very positive. They just seem to breeze more easily. Yeah, stuff happens, but they seem to deal with it better. So we kind of want to aspire to being, monitoring the quality of our thoughts and keeping them of a high frequency.
And then that harmony that between the left and the right hemispheres of the brain, that becomes more coherent, that's reflected in the body, and then the polarity within you begins to resolve and
Mm-hmm.
balance is restored. That was like,
Yeah.
yeah, what you, yeah,
Yeah, it's good. It's good to reframe.
and yeah, yeah. And then where they did the is this the transmission where they talked about more crystals and tech? And
That was the first one where they said that they used when they were in Lemuria, they used crystals for all their everyday life, and all their technology was crystalline based. So we talk about a crystalline frequency, a crystalline light, a crystalline. I think that's the ultimate crystalline form of like integrating the spirit with the body. We reach a kind of a the word is crystalline, but it just like a purification. But the actual use of crystals within that crystalline, we can use the minerals around us, and we've got everything we need on the planet. We just don't realize.
yeah, right. No, and in this particular one, they did make reference to a couple of crystals, hematite,
Hematite.
hematite and obsidian,
Yeah,
to protect from the EMF or
that's right. Yeah.
the technologies, um, it's keeping your own body's frequency protected, and even talked about certain geometrical imprints that could
Mm.
be used or worn to stabilize your field.
Yeah. So sacred geometry, certain. That's why these certain geometric shapes are so potent. We don't realize that they in of themselves can be used to repel certain frequencies, and crystals can be used as well. Just because we've got the physical, we've got all the inputs on our physical body that take us out of our highest potential. So we've got to mitigate those with ways to balance the EMF or reject the EMF out of our system. We also focus on our thoughts to raise the frequency in our mind through the thoughts. Like we have, I don't know if you're familiar with Masamoto, the Japanese guy who put glasses of water
Mm,
on words, and then he froze them, and you could show the crystals. So when you put
mm,
a glass of water on the word of love, it makes this beautiful crystal. But if you put a glass of water on the word of hate, it fractures. So and we're what 90% water. So
mm,
imagine how those thoughts are impacting us on a physiological level. That's a great
mm,
visual image for that, Masamoto.
mm. Yeah, nice. Yeah, that's a good way to visualize it. Yeah. So next, moving on, was Thursday, just on the second, and the transmission was about, again, crystalline technology. I think that theme runs through. It was embodying masculine and feminine. I'm pretty sure that came through as well. But also this more around ancient wisdom, Egyptian wisdom, and the again the talk of what disclosure truly means, and interestingly linked gypsies as the descendants of ancient Egyptians. Is that right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
The gypsies hold a lot of the ancient wisdom and a lot of the trauma that the ancients went through, but they're like a blood lineage of ancient civilization. It's really interesting.
Mm. And what happened to this ancient civilization? Did you see anything? Did they communicate anything? I can't remember about what happened and what did they left, or there
Yes,
was a
they. I guess there was. No, they didn't. Just they didn't actually show us that yet. Maybe that's to come.
uh, right,
Maybe that's
right,
to come. Yeah.
okay. Uh, so what? Yeah, any other insights into Thursday's um,
No, I think
channeling?
yeah, I think we've kind of covered all the themes because there's themes that run through each day. Each day is different, but there are themes that kind of layer.
Yeah, which were embodying masculine, feminine, and the crystalline consciousness and disclosure slash awakening was, it sort of ran through it every day or a lot of the days, didn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So it'd be interesting to see what now they kind of laid the foundations of kind of the the note which they're hitting with these messages. Be interesting to see where they go with it moving forward, especially when
Yeah.
we do it live. And because they said that so far they've been speaking to us, but when there's a wider audience, then they'll be speaking to the wider audience. So they'll be speaking,
Yeah.
it'd be different. So that'd be interesting.
Yeah. And gold. Got to buy some bling. They said, didn't they? Got to wear loads of gold, dripping in gold. They said.
They that's right. They said that gold's very pure. It holds certain memory, and it's really good for this for the raising the frequency. So if you have any
Yeah.
gold, get it out and wear it.
Yeah. Just gonna look like Ali G on tomorrow's meditation. Yeah.
Ali G,
Yeah. Oh,
at least it's not Mr. T. That would be like a whole other level.
that look a bit odd.